Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean,
I would just replace all of my chairs with toilets and go on with my life.
Google has found a new way to piss me off.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Every time I say it, it's going to suck even more.
Everyone's idiots.
I am the dog.
I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I am your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landen.
Hello.
And Caleb.
What's up?
And we are here to talk all things tech this week, because we did miss last week, but boy, howdy, do we have some things we want to talk about this week. So let's strap in, put the seatbelt on, because guess what's at the top? An event happened. Samsung Unpacked.
Yes.
Let's get into it, shall we?
The July iteration of Samsung Unpacked, because
July's. Yep.
There was one in January. There's probably there's all of them Unpacked. I want to know if their appliance events are called Unpacked.
Well,
do they have events for their appliances? I don't even know. If
Probably not, surely.
I would hope so. That would make it much more fun. And here's the new fridge. No, I don't know. It'd be great. I would watch those. I didn't watch the phone one, but I would watch the one about a fridge.
Watch the fridge one. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, they're practically phones at this point anyway, so why not?
fair.
All right. Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. They announced a bunch of stuff. Some new phones, couple new watches. I'm just going to go through everything really quick because there's really only one device that actually matters in this whole announcement. But first, they did announce the Galaxy Watch Ultra 2. Yep.
Neat.
Neat.
Honestly, like it is, as it says here, 12% slimmer and 35% bigger battery to an 800 milliamp hour battery. So, I mean, bigger battery, smaller watch, or thinner watch, I should say. It's got 5,000 nits of peak brightness on the screen, which is actually really nice to have on a watch. It is titanium, is like the first Ultra was. I mean, it's your typical rugged smartwatch from Samsung. It's the same outside exterior is square with a round display. It's ugly. I don't like them. I don't like it. But they came out with a new one of those. They came out with a new Galaxy Watch 9. Yep. It's a new watch. It sadly enough has a very similar like body to the Ultra, where it's kind of that rounded square with a circular display. I don't know why they did that, because the previous Galaxy watches actually looked pretty good. They had to make this one ugly to match the Ultra, I suppose. I don't know.
Listen, they got to be more like Apple. It's got to be the Squircle or nothing.
But at least Apple's has a Squircle display to match.
That's true.
So, yeah. They also announced what they're calling Samsung Intelligent Eyewear, as they're also putting a Galaxy AI on your face, because we all want that, right? They have partnered with General Monster and Warby Parker. These actually look like regular glasses, so that is nice. They don't have a screen built in, which is perfectly fine. These are, as Google would call them, audio glasses. They do have a camera built in, but they also have an LED light that lets you know when the camera is being used. And they've got things in there to help make it so you can't turn that off and whatnot. Hopefully that actually works, unlike Meta's.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. They also announced new phones. And this is the important part that everyone actually cares about. They announced the new Galaxy Z Flip 8 and a new Galaxy Z Fold 8 and the Galaxy Z Fold Ultra. Now, you might be wondering, why did they have an Ultra version of the phone? Well, because they can. I don't know. Ultra means expensive, I suppose, or better.
Because $2,000 wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Well, yes. So the new Galaxy Z Flip 8 is what you would expect it to be. The Flip and the Fold Ultra, you might think that's the new phone. That's not the new one, ironically. But the Flip 8 and the Fold 8 Ultra don't have that many improvements to them. It's kind of a TikTok type iteration here. Nothing crazy, which is okay to an extent. Like, these phones are pretty good for what they are. The new flip phone has the biggest upgrade here is that the outside display can actually be better utilized now, like how the Moto phones have been since the beginning. You know, you can actually use the outside display as your phone, mostly. Samsung's now letting you do more things like that. So it's about time. It only took till the 8th version of it to finally allow that to happen. I don't know why it took so long. And also, it is a little bit thinner. So I guess that might be nice for some people.
That's it. That's the thing that's going to sell everyone on it.
Yes, it's got to be thinner. Absolutely.
That 5% they managed to shave off the thickness. That'll
Yeah.
change everything. Good job, Samsung. You did it.
Yep. And all of these phones start with 256 gigs of storage, which is a good thing, but they're doing the thing that Apple's done where, yeah, they dropped the lower storage option, but they didn't keep the lower storage price because the Z Flip 8 at 256 gigs starts at $1,200, which is what the 256 gig storage phone started at last year, I believe. So technically, they can claim they didn't raise prices, but the base option got a price hike of $100. So it is more expensive. But it's only $100. So I will give them little teeny tiny bit of credit there because they definitely could have raised the prices way more than they did. Because even the Z Fold 8 Ultra was $2,000, I believe, last year for the 256 gig model. It is $2,100, so it is more expensive. But again, it definitely could have been way more expensive than it is.
There you go, Samsung. You get the "It Could Have Been Worse" award.
Yes, which is, you don't want that award, but I mean, it's in the name. It could have been worse.
It doesn't mean it was good. It just could have been worse.
Yes, definitely. There are a few more improvements to the Fold 8 Ultra where there's a new thing inside their display that I'm trying to remember what they called it. It's the Flex Titanium. It's like somewhere behind their display to help make it fold better. It basically gives less of a crease. It's very similar to, I believe it's Oppo, their latest Find N foldable device, where the crease is actually like not completely gone, but it's nearly invisible when you're using the display, unless you put your finger over it. And even then, it's negligible, basically, how much the crease is nowadays. And Samsung has kind of matched that with the Ultra. They've also added a matte display on the inside, so it has less glare to it, which also helps hide the crease a little bit as well. Again, not a bad thing. And they upped the battery in this one. So I've heard conflicting reports here. I've heard some people say it is a silicon carbon battery. I've also heard people say that Samsung is saying we have silicon in the battery. So is it I don't think it's a full silicon carbon battery, but they managed to put a 5,000 milliamp hour battery into this phone. So it is a larger capacity battery and it is also thinner as well. So they've had to have done something with their battery technology to make this bigger battery fit into this phone. Now, do I fully trust that? No, it's Samsung. You know what happens when they change battery technology. Bad things happen to the phones at that point. So
It's a grenade.
Things tend to
basically.
heat up.
yes. So proceed with caution, listener. If you're planning on buying this phone, just be aware they changed some stuff with the battery. Last time that happened, it didn't end well for them and some users.
Yeah.
But the most important phone that was announced at this event was the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 8, which, again, you might think, well, that's the same name that they've had in the past. Why isn't the Ultra the talked about phone? Well, the Ultra is basically the phone that we've had for the last 8 years. The Z Fold 8 is what everyone was expecting to be called the 8 Wide, the Fold 8 Wide. It's their passport-shaped phone that's slightly smaller and just it's the actual new folding phone here. So the outside display, when it's closed, is a 5.5-inch display. And the inside display is 7.6 inches. But the outside, I'm trying to remember what the ratio on that outside display was. I can't remember.
It's a quote unquote passport size
Yes, like
device. So
even more so than like what the first Pixel Fold phone was, and that got praised a lot because of its design.
More like the Surface Duo, actually.
Yeah, and
like that's
I've
the
seen
form factor.
I've seen so many comparisons to the Surface Duo, and everyone's loving that because the Surface Duo hardware was fantastic. It was this experience of the software that was absolutely horrible and that nobody liked.
Yeah,
I mean, it was Windows, so that makes sense. Well, Windows version of Android.
It was Android, but it was a pre-foldables Android. You know, like it was. Yeah. And I don't think Microsoft committed to it as hard as they should have. I think if Microsoft had committed to it harder and worked with Google to do things better, like Samsung did with the initial versions of the Fold, then things might have been different.
Yep.
But no, it's kind of it's not quite a 4x3. It's close to a 4x3, except I guess 3x4 because it's flipped sideways.
Well, the inside display is a 4:3 aspect ratio.
Oh, there you go.
The outside is it's a little more square, ever so slightly. But I actually really, really love this device. Like, I've always said, and listener, if you've listened to us for a while, you know I've always said that if I were to buy one of these folding or flipping phones, it would be the flip style because I like the opening it up to a regular phone and closing it to even smaller. This is the first phone that I have very seriously thought I could get, like the folding style. It's like I actually could be okay getting that version because it basically opens up to an iPad mini size display. And I genuinely like that.
It's going to be the ideal phone for watching Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey because the whole thing was shot on IMAX, and so it's a 4:3 aspect ratio. There you go.
That's fair.
That's why you buy this phone.
Yeah.
Got it.
Well, another thing is I saw someone and their hands on, I can't remember who it was, but they were saying how like when you tilt it up, like so it's long ways opened, like pictures are like initially a 4:3 aspect ratio when you take a photo of your phone, unless you use the telephoto lens or a wide angle lens, they are shot at 4:3 aspect ratio. So it fills the entire display on that inside when you take a photo. True. So it's like you're not wasting any of your display in some aspects when you're doing things on it.
Yeah. Honestly, was it Marquez? Years and years ago, somebody made a video about aspect ratios and filming aspect ratios and stuff like that. And the whole argument about, 16:9, 4:3, all the different options and whatnot, ultra wide and stuff like that. And What was really funny, because they were talking about also the difference between like landscape and portrait video,
Yeah.
right? And that's a even more pertinent discussion in this day and age since the advent of TikTok. And what they came down to is all like, you perceive the world in kind of a widescreen panoramic view with your own eyes. But at the same time, the thing that you focus on most is other people, and you perceive them vertically, like that's a better way to absorb people. So the ideal aspect ratio might actually be a combination of that super wide and super vertical aspect ratio, something like, I don't know, maybe 4:3,
Yeah.
basically just suggesting that we got it right the first time, and why the heck are we screwing around with it? And, iPads are an awesome way to consume content, and they've been pretty close to a 4:3 aspect ratio for a long time.
Yep.
So I'm not saying that this is the future because it's the past, but it might be the future despite being the past, or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, this phone, again, I've never really considered any of these folding phones to be any sort of reasonable option for me, because of, I don't love, like, when they're closed, they've gotten a lot better to where when they're closed, they look like a regular phone nowadays. They are a little taller, but they're mostly a regular phone. And then the inside display is it's mostly square, most of them right now. But this one, I've actually, I'm like, oh man, I really like that. I really want to get my hands on one of these because it looks great. And the other nice thing about this is the reason they did this is because Apple, their folding phone is rumored to be basically exactly the same when it comes to screen, and even down to the point that they're getting their displays from Samsung Display. So, I mean, this is basically going to be what the iPhone is, just Apple's version of it. And I don't hate that at all. The only downside for me is the Apple version is going to cost $500 more, probably. And speaking of cost, so it's 256 gigs. This one starts at $1,900, which again isn't cheap. It's expensive, but I really like this type of phone now. All of a sudden, it's not something I thought was going to be the case, but here we are.
So, what has held its value remarkably well, all things considered? The Surface Duo. I'm just looking at it on eBay right now. It's like $250 to $500, depending on like storage size and configuration and stuff like that.
It's not the Celeron one, or am I thinking? No.
You're thinking of the Surface Go.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the Surface Duo was their folding phone that didn't have a folding screen, just two separate screens with a very thin bezel in between.
That's right.
I'm curious to know what the price of that was a week ago before this Samsung announcement.
Right.
Because again, I've seen multiple creators, not just like one or two, like probably almost every video I've watched about this phone, the Samsung phone, is comparing it to the Surface Duo. And about like everyone's saying how much they really liked the style of the Surface Duo. Nobody's talking about the software experience being an awful thing, but everyone's talking about how good the hardware was. So now people are like, oh, Surface Duo, let's look at those. And now the prices are going up. So yeah, I'd be curious to know if that price was that way a week ago or not. Because
I wonder. I wonder.
But yeah, that's Samsung Unpacked. So all these phones are available for pre-order now. There are different carrier deals, listener. If you are part of like Verizon or AT&T or any of those, like a lot of these places are not giving these phones for free, but you can get significant discounts on them that way. So that is one way to help alleviate some of these price problems. These phones were always going to be expensive. They just did get a little bit more expensive. Again, not as much as we thought, because $2,100 for the Ultra, we're expecting Apple's folding phone that is going to compare more favorably to the regular Fold 8 And we're expecting that to be, I think, a minimum of $2,200, probably closer to $25, which is absurd for a phone. I think it's absurd for a laptop, but it's absolutely insane for a phone.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. I was gonna say that I'd look into that, but not really. I probably won't. But all right. Let's go ahead and let's move on. We got some Apple news, guys. Did you know Apple's music price goes down? No, wait. That's not right.
Yeah. That's not the economy we live in. Yep. So we talked about how Apple raised all the prices on their physical products. Last week, they also raised all the prices on their digital products. No, not all of them. Specifically, Apple Music. They cited the rising cost of song licensing as the reason for this. But they have adjusted up the price of Apple Music for a couple of different versions of the subscription. So I believe the individual subscription went up by $1 a month. The family subscription climbed by $3 a month, and that includes the Apple One subscription that has Apple Music Family's subscription on it also went up $3 a month. The version of Apple One that also includes Apple News Plus and Apple Fitness Plus, that one I think may have been more than $3 more, or maybe just $3 again. I think the one thing that didn't change was the Apple One subscription, just the individual Apple One subscription, right? So the one that only includes Apple Music for one person, 50 gigs of iCloud storage, and then I can't even remember, Apple Arcade and Apple TV, I think. That one didn't change. So that's the only one that didn't change, but the individual subscription for Apple Music did go up a little bit. The family plan went up a bit more, and supposedly it's because the record labels are charging Apple more money, but they're probably charging Apple more money because of like AI or something like that. So is this because of AI? There's a possibility that it is. So I'm just going to blame it on AI. May as well.
Yeah, there you go. Because RAM and AI and it's funny how all you have to say is it's just RAM, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, I get it."
Yeah,
it's just RAM. All right. Well, guess what? Next thing on here, Apple upgrade program.
Yeah, so I figured I'd mention this. It's not huge news, listener. If you were aware of the iPhone upgrade plan that Apple has been running for the past few years, which is basically that you pay a monthly lease for your phone, but at the end of, I think, 2 years, you own it. That's what this is, except it's for all of their hardware devices. Well, most of their hardware devices, not just the phone. So you can do a monthly lease for your MacBook, or you can do a monthly lease for your iPad, or you can do a monthly lease for your iPod Nano. Oh wait, no, you can't. They stopped making those, which sucks. Anyways, yeah, that's an option for you now. I don't love it, but because it is essentially just financing for an Apple device. But if you are prompt with the payments and you don't like miss any or take longer to and accrue fees or anything like that, then it is technically just the same price as the device would be, just spread out over a period of time. And at the end of it, you can choose to either keep paying and exchange the device for a brand new version of whatever it was you were paying for, right? So at the end of the, I think, 2 years for iPhones, you get the latest version of the iPhone, just trade it across and keep paying the same price, or you stop paying and you own the device that you have. That's the key thing that makes this better than, say, the HP schemes that we've talked about before, where you get to the end of the 3 years, you keep paying, you don't get a new device probably, and you don't own it either.
Yeah.
So that's the key difference here. This is essentially just kind of an extended financing plan for an Apple device. I don't necessarily love that. If you don't have the money right now to buy a piece of electronics like this, then buy something cheaper, you know? But I don't know your life. I don't know your circumstances. I don't know your experience. If you're going to do something like this, do it through a program like this with Apple before you do it through like Rent-A-Center or something dumb like that. Don't do Rent-A-Center or whatever the one with the dog is. What was that one? I can't remember. The other one. It's like Rent-A-Center, but isn't. Fetch. I
can't think of it, but I see the logo. Yeah.
Right? Like it's the dog is the mascot. Yep. Anyways. Don't do those. Don't do those. If you're going to do something like this, then do it with Apple. Like I said, if you're prompt with your payments, then you should only end up paying the cost of the device itself. And at the end of it, you can either swap up to a new one and keep paying. Okay. Or you just own the device. Okay. So
yeah, that's actually pretty cool. So, all right, let's move on. Microsoft news here. Actually, got tidbits of this, but I'm mentioning this because Windows 10 is extended for another year. Landen, do you have like clapping or any kind of sound effect that? Excellent. Very appropriate. So I recently got an email that says, stay secure for another year, coming from Microsoft. They are extending the coverage, and it will be for the security updates, essential security updates for Windows 10. The coverage will now be available through October 12th, 2027, which is wonderful. Because there's some of us just can't buy newer stuff for Windows 11. There's parts, there's all sorts of stuff. It just is so expensive. Let me just say it again. What's the word? RAM. Yep, you heard it, folks.
Yeah,
and more, but we'll just say RAM.
Well,
and all the above.
I mean, also the fact that nobody wants to upgrade to Windows 11 anyways. Dude.
You know what's
true?
Funny?
It sucks.
I still have a PC over here that I replaced everything to go to Windows 11, and it tells me, hey, it's going to go to Windows 11, and I still sit there. I'm like, I might wait for the day. I'm going to wait. The day of. And then this happened. I'm like, yes. So listener, if you still are running Windows 10, you have another year for extended updates. So, yes, this is good. And if you haven't got the extended updates and you need it, just remember, you just have to sign in. It'll probably tell you on your Windows 10 device that you need to sign in. And once you sign in, there's options to get the extended service updates. The options are, 1, you pay $30. 2, if you are a Microsoft Rewards user, you can spend 1,000 points to get it. Or 3, if you subscribe to their, obviously, Microsoft 365 or have any kind of that, they'll just give it to you. So. Sweet.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but hey, I enjoyed this. So,
hey, it's the first time in a while we've got good news out of Microsoft.
Yeah, true.
And listen, you can also look at this as just another year to figure out exactly which distro of Linux you want to move to.
We're hoping Linux gets better and better every year, so Microsoft's going to continue to extend this.
That's the thing. Like, somebody pointed this out that like Linux is getting better constantly, slowly. Microsoft, over the past few years, rapidly getting worse. It was only a matter of time before they crossed over at some point, and I think we've passed that point, honestly.
Yep. So, jeez. So, listener, that's what that was. So, we're going to move on to some general tech news. It's a sad day for tech enthusiasts.
Listener, it is the end of a time that was really good with smartphones. But OnePlus has officially announced that they will no longer be selling their phones in the US or Europe. Now, you may be wondering, wait, why are they playing taps behind this? They're not dead. Yes, they are technically not dead. I had to let that play out. But
there's a difference between all dead and mostly dead.
yes.
Mostly dead is still slightly alive. With
Yes.
all dead, there's usually only
Yep.
one thing you can do.
Now, this is definitely mostly dead, but I would say it's 99% of the way dead. This is just, the first announcement of a few that's going to happen over the next year or two. But yes, OnePlus will no longer be launching new products. So anything that's currently available in the US and Europe is or will still remain available while they are still making those products. Anything new will no longer be coming to those markets, which is really unfortunate because the OnePlus 15 is the most recent OnePlus phone. Got a lot of really good reviews. Like the first OnePlus phone in a while that everyone actually really enjoyed using, and a lot of people, like a lot of reviewers, that's their go-to phone. Like they'll review whatever phone's new and they'll go back to the OnePlus 15. I know multiple reviewers that are that way. But I mean, I can't remember is Oppo the parent company of OnePlus now? I think so.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of the Oppo phones are very similar to the OnePlus phones. And I do believe Oppo is still going to be selling their phones inside the US. The difference there is the user UI is a little bit different. I mean, OnePlus was very much going towards whatever Oppo does use when it comes to UI, but it was slightly different. Hardware is always a little bit different, not a lot, but a little bit. But it's sad because like OnePlus over the years has been very up and down, let's say, when it comes to products that they've delivered. Marketing has been very interesting over the years, especially when Carl Pei still was at OnePlus. He made some interesting choices. But I remember when the OnePlus One came out, I was working at a place that made screen protectors, and I got to play with all the new phones that we got in to make designs for, and it was fantastic. It was a great job. I loved that job. But the OnePlus One, that phone was so cool, and like even the next few iterations were really great. The only problem with OnePlus is they started off being the flagship killer was their whole thing. Like they had slightly lesser specs, but it was still higher than mid-range specs. But you paid a mid-range price on the phone. Like what you got for what you paid, it was a great device. And they slowly eked closer and closer to that full-on flagship phone. Then eventually, like with the OnePlus 8 or 9, it just was a full-on flagship phone at that price for flagship prices. And they kind of went downhill at that point. But then as they were going down, they did slightly start to trend upwards, and that's when the OnePlus 15 came out, and everyone universally, for the most part, loved this phone. But that also is now, for some reason, when they're going to stop selling OnePlus devices in two of their probably bigger markets, unfortunately. But yeah, so it's not fully dead yet, but it's the start.
It would take a miracle.
Yes. Yeah. Going back to the references Caleb was making earlier.
Yes.
The chocolate coating helps it go down easier.
Yes.
But you gotta wait 15 minutes for potency. And don't go in swimming after for
at least an hour.
Half hour. Good hour.
Have fun raiding the castle, OnePlus.
All right. Let's move on. Let's see. LG monitor installs malware, and Microsoft politely asks them to please not.
Yep. So that's the thing that happened over the past couple of weeks, listener.
I heard about that.
So it came out that this is so horrifying, like the whole thing. So came out on Reddit. Guy had bought an LG monitor and plugged it into his computer and was then complaining that afterwards he kept getting pop-ups from a McAfee Malwarebytes something or other, like an ad for it. I think it was an ad for the piece of software. It wasn't actually from the software itself. Yeah. And he's like, why the heck am I getting pop-up ads for this now? Just in Windows, just in the notification tray, right? Like, it's not like a pop-up in the browser or something like that. It's toasting on his desktop, right? So he's like, what the heck? So people did some digging. Turns out that the LG app was installing an ad service for McAfee, that they had sold ad space to McAfee, and they were toasting this on people's desktops. Here's the best part. This was not a case of like, you downloaded a third-party piece of software to go with your LG product, and that in the background has ads embedded into it. No. This is a piece of software from LG, an LG management app that automatically installed when he plugged the monitor in through Windows Update. Right? You plug a piece of hardware into your computer, it goes to Windows, gets drivers. If there's manufacturer drivers available on Windows Update, Windows is going to go fetch those. It's going to go download those and install those drivers from the manufacturer into Windows, and embedded inside of that was ads for McAfee.
Oh my gosh.
So just by plugging an LG monitor into his computer, he had, through the Windows Update system, downloaded what essentially amounts to malware that was a pop-up ad for McAfee. Yeah. Which, seems kind of, okay, why are we getting all worked? It's an ad, right? Like, it's annoying, sure, but
no,
you can turn it off. No, you can't. You can't turn it off because these are the drivers for your monitor. You can't. They don't have settings. You can't go in there and uncheck the show me ads box. It's the drivers. Like, what the heck? And these are drivers that came from Microsoft. Windows installed them. So this is slightly less malicious malware, but it is still malware. It was unwanted, and it got installed and started doing unwanted behavior on your computer. By definition, actual pants malware. But that just means that there is a method here that LG was exploiting that somebody else could exploit way more nefariously. They just have to have drivers posted to Windows Update that would, so if you were to plug just like a random frickin' keyboard from AliExpress into your computer, it's gonna go ask for drivers, and Windows Update's gonna go, oh, hey, drivers from this manufacturer for this device, they're right here, and install a Trojan or something like that onto your hardware. Like, what the actual heck? So, internet all in a uproar about this, as they should be, and Microsoft responded by going and asking LG to please remove this thing from their drivers. Like, okay, not patching out the ability for this to happen. No, just asking LG, please don't do that. Yeah. And LG was like, okay, we'll stop doing that. And now I don't trust Microsoft. I don't trust LG. I don't trust any USB device that I plug into a Windows computer for any reason whatsoever. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. If you didn't already hate everything in your house that has a USB connection on it, then sorry, I guess now you can. It's okay. This actually goes back to the old standard of, I heard this first, I think, about smart home stuff, but I guess now it applies to any piece of hardware that you're going to plug into a Windows PC. That you have the tech enthusiasts, right? The tech journalists, the whatnot, who will brag about, like, I have smart blinds, I have smart light bulbs, I have smart everything. I can just issue a command to my phone and my entire house will change and reconfigure itself. Then you have the computer programmers and developers who actually built the stuff, who essentially are just like, the most advanced piece of technology in my house is a printer from 1984, and I keep a baseball bat next to it in case it starts making any funny noises. They don't trust their own stuff. We shouldn't trust it either. And this is grade A primo evidence for why you shouldn't. So, LG, good job. Microsoft, well done. I hate you both.
I did hear that when you go to install it, if this happens when you just click default everything and install. Now, I don't know what you have to unclick to make it not do this, but I did hear there is an option if you go through the different pre-installed install settings or whatnot. It doesn't tell you what it is, but I think there's a way to not do it.
I think the distinction is that, like, it's a monitor. You don't really need drivers for a monitor. You just plug it in, use the default Windows display driver, and it'll work just fine.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the key, is if you just use the default Windows display driver, it's not a problem. It's if you go through and do the optional updates thing inside of Windows Updater that you have this becomes an issue, because it's going to install an LG piece of software for this stuff, which I think you might, like, LG would probably tell you, you need this to maximize, like, the functionality of your monitor in terms of, like, resolution support and refresh rate and so on and so forth. That's a bunch of bunk. Microsoft's default display driver is plenty good for pretty much all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the only scenarios where it might not work is technically, like, refresh rate overclocking. In which case there's third-party pieces of software that'll do that. So don't just, So if you do buy a new LG monitor, I guess don't download and install the optional updates. But if you're the kind of person who just goes through periodically, looks at the optional updates, clicks them all and says install, there's going to be one in there that says LG monitor driver or something like that. And you're going to be like, oh, that's fine. And you're going to get malware. So fun times.
Yeah.
Have I mentioned that Linux is really good these days?
Oh, jeez. So
I feel like an evangelist. I'm really not that much of an evangelist. I'm just Microsoft keeps doing things that I'm like, what?
That sucks. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Apparently, screenless exercise bands are now a thing.
Yeah. So we got the Whoop that is, don't buy it. It's too expensive. You have to pay for a subscription to use it. Don't do it.
Yep.
Then Fitbit came out with one. Buy that one. It's pretty good. Or now Garmin has one because, again, apparently they're a thing now that people need to have as an option.
This is just the new hotness.
Yeah, and I don't hate it because, honestly, there are people that don't want a smartwatch all the time, and that's fine. They don't need one. But they still want, fitness trackers of some sort, and these are probably the best options for that person because they do track a lot of things that, like, a smartwatch would, but then they also don't do the notifications and things like that smartwatches do that add to distractions and whatnot that people just don't necessarily want or need all the time. So I don't hate them. It's just now everyone is coming out with their own. But this Garmin one, it is more expensive than the Fitbit. It is $200. But it's Garmin, so it's going to be good quality. The downside, like the first thing I thought of was, Garmin's coming out with one. It's probably lasts for like 6 months because their batteries and their other watches have been phenomenal. Like you can get a regular smartwatch fitness tracker from Garmin that like will last you 30 days on one charge, but it'll also cost you about $800.
Yeah.
But this one, $200. The battery is not as good as we were hoping for. I believe it'll last about a week, or actually their website's saying up to 10 days. So about a week is probably what you're to reasonably expect out of this thing. But it does a lot of stuff. Like it does everything that the Fitbit's going to do, everything the Whoop is going to do. And it also does not have a subscription to utilize pretty much there is an option. You can pay for, I don't know what Garmin's fitness subscription is. They do have one and you can use that on any of their stuff. They do have that and it does unlock a few things. I don't know exactly what all it unlocks, but the vast majority of features that are available for this smart band will work without that subscription. The other thing with this one is it does have GPS capabilities-ish. That's while it's connected to your phone. So it's using your phone's GPS, which that was one other thing that a lot of people were hoping that Garmin would put into this because the Fitbit doesn't have built-in GPS, and I don't know about the Whoop, but I don't think it does.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So a lot of people were hoping that Garmin was going to do that, but they did not do that. So if you're hoping to get this to be able to go on a run without your phone, I mean, yeah, you can. It'll still track a lot of stuff. It just won't track distance and things like that. So that's kind of a bummer. But overall, I think like if you have the money for $200, this is probably the one of the three to get. If you want to go the cheaper route, obviously the Fitbit is the way to go. Get $100, and the Whoop is just no. Don't buy that one. You don't need it. It's a paperweight unless you want to pay $300 a year, and you don't need to do that either. So, yeah, and this is called the CIRQA Smart Band, spelled CIRQA, because reasons.
Because it's from the circus. Like
Yeah,
I hear that. I think Cirque du Soleil. Like I don't know. It's just
yes, but I mean to be fair, Garmin has a lot of weird names for all of their smartwatches and other fitness stuff, so it is on brand for what Garmin has done. But yeah, so
yeah.
New smart band, and again, I think this is probably going to be of the three the overall best choice. But if you want the cheaper option, go with the Fitbit. And if you just have money to burn, go to our Patreon. Don't buy the Whoop.
Way better. Way better.
Yeah.
All right. Next topic here. Samsung is trying really hard to be Apple.
Yeah, I mean, we already knew this with, they've got the phones, they've got the watches, they've got the earbuds. They all work best when you pair them together, as it does with Apple. And I mean, Google's the same way. But now Samsung's trying even harder because they now have the Samsung, of course, called Galaxy card. Yes, Samsung now has a credit card.
Good.
Oh, jeez.
Why? Because Apple does, really. I don't know. They are partnering with Barclays to do this, and I think that's the rumor of who Apple's going to be going with in the future as well. But it hasn't been confirmed by anybody yet.
Yeah,
but that
or was it Chase? It might have been Chase.
I think it was. I've heard both, so it could be either. We'll see. This Samsung card though is ever so slightly better than Apple's ish, because you get 5% cash back on any Samsung devices purchased directly from the company. You get 3% cash back on transactions made through the Samsung wallet, and if you use your card, let's see, if you use it online for subscriptions like Disney or Netflix, something, you get 2% cash back that way, and then 1% cash back on everything else. So the cash back is ever so slightly better than Apple's, but
Yeah.
not enough to really. If you have a Samsung phone, if you are in Samsung's ecosystem, yes, get this.
Yes.
Same with Apple. If you're in Apple's ecosystem, the Apple Card makes sense. Same here.
Yeah.
Now, the question I've heard brought up by other people, and I'm also extremely curious, does this include only Samsung electronics? Or if I were to buy a dishwasher, do I get 5%
Ooh.
cash back on that? Because that makes it more enticing for anybody that has that needs a credit card. Because 5% cash back on a Samsung fridge, a stove, like all of your appliances could be Samsung. You get 5% cash back, you know?
That would be pretty substantial. Yeah, because I was going to say, like, honestly, if they really want to sell this to people, what they should do is 5% cash back for Samsung purchases, 3% cash back for anything bought directly from Apple, because that's what Apple offers for their card. That would, I'd switch.
Yeah.
Not because I'm planning on buying a bunch of Samsung stuff, but because that's kind of the main reason I have the Apple card is for the 3% cash back when I occasionally buy Apple devices. And then also, like, if I ever do buy a Samsung something, getting 5% on top of that would be great. But yeah.
Yep. They are also offering, I don't know how long this is going to last, but they're offering extra $200 in cash rewards when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days. So, listener, what you need to do, get the credit card, buy the Galaxy Fold, and you're good. You basically get $200 off the phone right there.
Yeah.
So,
well, plus the 5% cash back.
and yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
bonus, I suppose.
There you go.
But yeah, that's
Bonus.
new Samsung Galaxy card because reasons I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get into some gaming news. Not too much, but just want to make you aware. Listener, Xbox backwards compatibility program is now on PC. Why does that matter? Because you could always have old games on PC. Well, it's actually the console only games from like the original Xbox. Now, quote, we're pretending that you don't emulate these as well.
I was gonna say, it's like I have Xbox backwards compatibility on my PC already, and I'm not even running Windows.
I mean, I was going to say,
I could emulator.
I could probably do all this same stuff on my Mac. It's like,
actually, emulation on Macs is really good. Like I've done that before. It's quite. There's a good.
Even emulating Windows on Mac is excellent. It's better than running on Windows.
Oh, jeez. Right. So, what is this for? So, what is this doing? So right now they just released 4 of the original Xbox's games for the availability for PC. Blinks, Conquer, Crimson Skies, and Fusion Frenzy. What does this mean? So you basically get the license to carry over for your Xbox, your PC, and your handheld. So it's the Xbox Play Anywhere support. Also cloud gaming support. And if it's ever digitally purchased or Game Pass, it has a support of all that. Basically, they're bringing it forward. So like 4 times resolution, upscaling, VSync, full screen, widescreen modes, etc. Enhanced anti-aliasing. They are saying they're going to bring achievements to these games as well. So, cool.
So that means Wes has to do it because he has to have all the achievements, right?
I'm such an achievement sucker, I am. But I don't know. I didn't play those games. I might do Fusion Frenzy because I did play that one. That one's kind of cool. But I guess we'll see what games they decide to bring forward to do this. But yeah, now it's on your PC. Next thing on there, I think this also kind of is wrapping into this. So PlayStation actually they have announced they are getting rid of physical discs. They're no longer going to be doing the physical discs, which whether you're on the side of physical or not, it's happening. They did release numbers saying that, I think they said there was only like sales for physical disc was only like 5% or 10%. So they are getting rid of it.
Well, Okay, yeah, but that's because half of the people who would buy the physical discs are buying used copies, which
Correct.
they can't
Correct.
track, and they're like renting them or borrowing them from friends or something like that. That are all the reasons why we want physical discs, Sony.
Yep. So, why did I bring this up? Well, Xbox decided after they heard that was like, hey, we're gonna do a possible conversion thing where you pop in your disc, your physical, and you can get a digital license. It's not confirmed, but they have mentioned something like this. So,
Yeah.
cool. And if that happens, you got your old console's discs that you bring in, you get a license, and it'll be on your PC, which is why I kind of wrapped that into this backwards compatibility thing. Sweet. Between the two companies, PlayStation and Xbox is way ahead of Sony of doing backwards compatibility and bringing it forward. So I'll give it to them.
Well, yeah, but remember when Sony sold like 100 bajillion PlayStation 4s because of Xbox absolutely fumbling physical media with the Xbox One?
Yeah.
Like Pepperidge Farm remembers. I
was wondering if you'd say that. It's a good one.
Was not that long ago, I swear. Like, I just want to be so clear, because somebody is going to be out there thinking to themselves right now, well, yeah, but you're a PC gamer, and PCs haven't been using physical media for decades at this point. Like, how many games do you have on PC that are physical? And the answer to that question is a few that I had when I was a teenager, and actually I've ripped all of those to digital copies on my computer now and either patched them so that they run without a disc, or just made an ISO of the disc that I can virtually mount to do whatever I want with. Like, yes, I recognize I have, 600 plus digital PC games right now. There's a few duplicates in there, I'm sure, but I don't know, over 600 digital games. So, like, yeah, I get it. But I think there's two things that make this different. First of all, when the PC went fully digital with the games libraries, they didn't go fully digital under a single, like, monolithic ecosystem with one company in control of the only marketplace through which digital media could be purchased. We had an open play area where a bunch of different companies had the opportunity to sell digital games. Granted, for the longest time, the only ones that were doing it well were like Blizzard with Battle.net and their own just small handful of games. And then Valve. And I think that's the other key thing here, is that when we did kind of have a monolithic digital space pop up, it was Valve, not Sony.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, Sony and Xbox are not Valve. They're not going to play nice with whatever it is you want or need from them.
Correct.
Valve, listen, Valve is not a perfect company. Gabe Newell is not a perfect person. But from the perspective of, like, the good that they have done for the gaming space versus the bad that they have done, the good so ridiculously outweighs the bad. And have they left profit on the table in the process? Absolutely. Absolutely. No other company in gaming, no other major company in gaming with the market sway that Valve has made so many bad profit decisions as Valve has done. And why did they do it? Because they wanted gamers to be happy. They wanted gamers to like them so that they would go to them when they wanted to buy and play video games. That's how you do that if you want things to work out, but Sony's not going to do that. Microsoft isn't going to do that. So, like, taking away physical media, removing that avenue that allows us to share, to buy used, to do the things that we do with physical media on those platforms, that's going to be a problem on those platforms. When your only option is to buy a digital version directly from them, you know what you end up with? you end up with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate still costing $80 like a decade after it was released. Which is like Nintendo, I don't even know how they've managed to do this because they are still selling physical media, but that's kind of how that's played out. And, you know, these games never go on sale and there's no like competition to force them down at all. And yeah, that's just not how it is on the PC, my friend. I have several different options in terms of purchasing my video games and also gigantic backlogs of games that I can purchase that do not in any way feed into Valve or Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo or anything. And look, we were just talking about it. If you really want to, you can go buy used Xbox games and then emulate them on your PC. You know, you do it with old PlayStation games too. Heck, you can do it with Sega Genesis stuff. Like, go to the thrift store and grab some cartridges and you can buy a special little reader that'll let you digitize that stuff. Or if you want to be slightly more flippant about it, you can go to a ROM site and download the ROM for the games that you have already physically purchased. It saves a few steps.
Yep.
But yeah, it's different, listener. It is different on the PC. And PlayStation doing this is a huge middle finger to gamers as a whole. And I appreciate that Microsoft's response to this was like, we'll let you do a digital version of your physical discs, mostly because what they're saying is you can still trade the discs around and you can get the like digital advantages, like the digital license advantages for your physical media, because it'll just install that digital license to your account anytime you put the disc into a new system or whatever like that you own, meaning that you can do your cloud gaming, you can get the PC version of the game on your account automatically just by having the physical Xbox disc, which is great, but that's not a commitment to keep making the physical Xbox discs, is it?
That's true. It is
You
not.
know?
And I want you to know, I never said they were.
It's a good thing, but it's not actually a response to what Sony is doing.
Yep.
So, I don't know.
Yep.
Anyways, there's my rant for the week. Check that one off the list.
I figured that one. That's why I said that one second, because that one probably would have set you off. Now, we both know that Landon's got a lot to say, so Landon, you take the floor now.
You know, actually, I do have thoughts on this. So, I mean, I obviously don't have a fight in this whatsoever because I don't have a console, haven't had a console in 10 years. The only console I would want to buy right now is a Switch, and we all know how that is when it comes to games. But I can't remember where I heard this last week, but I really liked this idea, and so it's not going to happen. But I would love to see, like, yes, obviously switching to just downloaded games and licenses and all that crap, it does make sense for Sony and Xbox and all these companies because it is cheaper to produce to get games to people this way. I don't necessarily hate it. I don't like it, but I don't necessarily hate it because it is, like Caleb said, he's got 600 plus games available to him like that. And you can have that option on console this way, but like Caleb also said, you can't borrow a game from somebody because it's digital. So, and that's always been the benefit to consoles is the ability to swap games with friends and whatnot, you know, or buy used games. You can't do that in the PC world. And that's just how it's been, and it's unfortunate, but you know, that's what it is. Now, one thing that would be cool to see is, yes, you can keep these games as digital downloads and whatnot, keep them not on physical discs, but give us the option to download it to either a CD if we want, or an SD card and have it transferable that way. So if somebody does want to borrow it, you can do that, give them a card or a disc, and then they can play it that way. Now, that would also require Sony and Xbox to put either an SD card reader or keep the disc readers in their consoles, which also isn't going to happen. At least not the disc readers. Maybe they can add an SD card reader really easily, and that doesn't take up a lot of space. They're not that expensive. That would be great. But I would love to see that. Like the ability, like, yes, give us the game digitally, that's fine, but allow us to download it onto physical media that we can then do what we want with. And if they sell it, you have to sell the license as well. That's fine. But I would love to see that. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe if enough people start asking for something like that, maybe it'll happen. Again, I still don't see it happening, but it would be great.
Yeah.
I
mean, the idea of digital games being that you are essentially just purchasing a license to play the game, you don't actually own the game and can be revoked at any time, is still an issue that the gaming industry at large has not reckoned with. If at any point somebody gives me the ability to gift or like resell my Steam games like on a used market or something like that, just like, here's my license for a Steam game, I'm going to put it on a used marketplace or whatever, and somebody can go buy that. That would be super, super cool. I don't know how on earth you could possibly ever square that with the fact that Steam is also selling the games for the developer. Like, does the developer get a cut of that sale? I don't know. Because in order for it to work, in order for developers to buy into that, I think they would have to. So I don't know how you could possibly do that, but I would love for something like that to happen. In the meantime, I do appreciate when they give you the option to like digitally loan a copy of a game, like you can send it to somebody and it gives them access to it for a limited amount of time. That is a thing that has been kind of toyed with in a few different places. Would love to see more of that sort of thing. And GOG.com does just give you the executable and download for the game. So you can just download the thing and you can put it on an SD card and you can give it to somebody else and they can just play it right from there. Technically against the terms and services. Technically that is illegal, but also they're not stopping you because they sold you the game, not just the license to it, the actual pants game. So as long as there's not like online features, it works.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, as long as they can still offer those online features or the ability to upgrade the game or whatnot if you play it online. But if they give you an offline version of the game in that digital download, that's what we want. We want the ability to play unconnected, because that's what gaming always used to be. And it made gaming more of a in-person experience, which again, I get why there are pros to it not being that way nowadays, but there are definitely cons to that as well. And I always, like, that's how I used to game. That's what made me play games even into high school when I didn't really care about games, was going and hanging out with my friends and playing games with them. Not, I'm going to sit down on my computer by myself, but someone else is on this monitor over here, but I'm not paying attention to them, or even not even on that monitor because they're just an avatar or something, it doesn't matter. I like the more personal experience of playing with people. That's kind of like, that's why I've gotten more into card games and board games and those type of things, because you have to be in the presence of other people to play those games. It's more fun that way, in my opinion.
True.
Yep.
True. All right. Well, listener, this actually brings us to the last segment of the podcast.
Welcome to the bright side of life. Hey! Hey! Jump in!
That's right, the bright side of life. We always want to try to end the episode with something bright side of life. Wow, I didn't think that one through as I was saying that. Well, we like to at least have one of us, or each of us will come up with one thing that we really like and enjoyed this week or past week or something we thought about. And we're going to start with Caleb. What you got for us?
Community theater.
Yes.
That was the bright side of this past week for me. So for the past, I don't know, 3 months or something like that, my wife has been assisting with a community theater production of Disney's Frozen. So not the movie, but the stage musical, listener, which I don't know if you were aware that that's the thing. I wasn't. But it is apparently. And so she's been helping out with that. And they opened up last weekend. And so this weekend, I was able to take the kids and go see this show. And it just kind of made me appreciate that how nice it is to have a bunch of people that are willing to volunteer their time to something like this in order to put on a fun show that, like, you know, people in the community, families can get together and go and see just as a night out, you know, together as a group. Lots of, you know, friend groups as well, where there was not just families with little kids. Shockingly, there was quite a lot of just groups of adults that had gone to see this show because they just like supporting community theater. It was, I don't know, it was a nice way to kind of visualize and see the community coming together to accomplish something that was enjoyable and open and accepting for everyone. That's it. It's a good show.
Yeah. You know, I'll
Did a good job.
second Caleb's idea behind this community theater thing. So my kids and my wife especially we've been involved in our town does a small little free to the public show every year. And it's usually around, like, our town has a nice little celebration for the town and whatnot every year. And the theater has always been involved with that. And it is about a 2-week process that the kids are in. And it's only for high school age and younger. It's only for kids. And they've done, like, my kids have done it for I don't even know how many years now. My wife is on the board for the theater. Like, we're in deep in this. And it's been so much fun. Like, my kids absolutely love it. My kids have we've put them into different camps with different theater companies over the years. Like, they've been involved in this stuff. And I love community theater stuff. And, like, we don't live in a very super populated area, listener. It's it's a conglomerate of a lot of small towns. And we still have, off the top of my head, I can think of 4 pretty decent sized theater companies just where we live. And they all, like, I mean, I've kind of taken it for granted living here my whole life, pretty much, minus a few years here and there. But, like, even growing up, the talent that is in our area when it comes to live theater has been really good for a long time. And it's only getting better as time goes on, because all the people our age that grew up doing theater are now in charge of a lot of these theater companies and are doing great things. And I love seeing it. And, like, this production that Caleb's actually talking about is 3 of those 4 major theater companies combined together to produce this. And I haven't gone to see it. I really want to, because I'm imagining it's fantastic.
You should, first of all. The lighting effects for it, because it's Frozen, right? So how are you going to do the ice and stuff like that in its lighting? They use lighting for it, and it's really cool. It's really fun. There's a lot of impressive stuff. If you do end up going, I will say, sit in the balcony, because you kind of want to be able to see down to the surface of the stage. I'll just say that. If you're, like, at eye level with the stage itself, you're going to miss some pretty cool lighting effects. But I will say that we do have a lot of talent locally. And when you have multiple theater companies working on a show together, then they're not fighting for the same talent pool, which means that you get just all the best talent in the same show, which is great. But at the same time, it is kind of a problem. Like, so my wife has been stage manager for the show. And so she's in with the directors and producers and like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that's going on that I've kind of gotten to hear. And I will say there's a certain amount of like, the people putting on the show are expecting their entirely volunteer cast, because they do know that some of them just about could have gone pro. You know, these are people that maybe weren't going to be starring in a show on Broadway, but could have been in the ensemble for a Broadway touring performance of something significant if they had really wanted to pursue that. That's the level of talent, like Landen was saying, that we kind of have in our community around here. And some of these people want these folks who are volunteering their time to behave as if they are in fact in a professional show and they're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
which is okay, maybe tone it down a little bit. It is just community theater, but yeah, it's super fun to watch the community come together and make something like this that is, it's great. So yeah, that was this week.
I will also add on to that, like, wherever you are at, find your local community theater, because I guarantee there is one somewhere near where you're at. And like, just this past week, a pretty good friend of mine, she's been doing different theater stuff in a different community, and unfortunately their theater ended up having to close, like their company that they're doing plays with. And she's been really not taking it super well, which I understand. Like, that was something that she really enjoyed, did it for a lot of fun, a lot of years. And so, like, seeing stuff like that happen is really unfortunate. So go support your community theater. Go watch whatever play, whatever musical they're putting on. Go check it out, because even if it's not the highest quality, which again, we are kind of spoiled here where we're at, so we do get good quality. But I've been to areas where it's not the best quality, but it's always fun. It's enjoyable. The theaters are always, like, you're not in a super crowded, packed in theater. Like, you might be in a place that's a max of like 500 people. And that for me makes it more fun. It's more intimate, because you get a better experience when it's that small of a theater. So go support wherever you're at, because it's just fun. And these people need that support no matter where you're at.
Yeah. And hey, if you're really lucky, you're going to get to watch a live, completely unintentional recreation of the play that goes wrong.
Yeah.
Which, if you've ever seen the actual show, The Play That Goes Wrong, hilarious. But I would honestly love to see a community theater program just screw up that badly in real time.
Awesome. All right, Landen, well, your turn.
Now, on to a different form of theater. This is not community theater, and it's not theater, really. My bright side of life this week is the Vans Warped Tour. Now, I didn't go to the Warped Tour because it didn't come anywhere near me this year. It's it's been brought back from the dead, basically. It hasn't happened in a lot of years. And this year they're like, you know what, let's get a bunch of bands together and do it again. And they didn't do nearly as many cities as they used to do back. I think they may have done 5 or 6. They didn't do a lot of actual touring this year, but they did live stream the shows in Long Beach, California that happened this weekend. Like, I'm currently missing a band that I wanted to watch, unfortunately. Listener, that's how much I want to do this podcast. I'm giving up watching Vans Warped Tour. I think it's Third Eye Blind is on right now, and I'm missing it. But I did get to watch because they streamed it on Amazon Prime. So if you were an Amazon Prime subscriber or an Amazon Music subscriber, you could watch this via either the music app or the Prime Video app. And so I was able to get the schedule of bands. And yesterday was actually the main day that I wanted to watch because there was a lot of bands that I enjoyed watching. So just to name a few, listener, this is, as Wes's kids call it, dad rock. This
Oh,
is
man,
the stuff
dad
that
rock.
we grew up on. But like,
Yep.
I watched a bunch of Bowling for Soup. I watched Real Big Fish's entire set. I watched some of Plain White Tees. I watched a little bit of Hoobastank. There's Jimmy Eat World and Simple Plan yesterday. I watched a little bit of them. It was fantastic. And then today I watched the main one that I wanted to watch today that I did watch the entire set for was MXPX. And they killed it. It was fantastic.
I love MXPX. Oh, they're so awesome.
But I really loved just being able to pull up on my phone and watch all these bands that I listened to these guys all through, from middle school through high school. Like this was my growing up years, was these bands. I loved it. So that's my bright side of life was this week, is just like bands that I've seen a couple of them live, but most of them I haven't. So, and this, yes, I wasn't there, but still getting that live experience, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
It's pretty cool to see. And of course, Landen had to share. He's like, hey, do you
Yeah.
have Amazon Prime? I'm like, yeah, I do. And in my mind, I'm like, it was funny because I'm like, what, you want me to order you something? Or like, I was like, what? Like, why would you ask me that? And then he's like, oh, by the way, you can stream this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, all I did was I sent the set list of
Yep.
the different bands. I'm like, go here.
Oh, it was so cool. Yep. All right. Well, listener, my bright side of life is Windows 10 is extended for one more year. Like, it's honestly, when I got that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, I don't have to go to, yes, I technically have a PC that can now go to Windows 11. Yes, I do. But I don't want to because I still hear horror stories. Like, I have a cousin. He was talking to me. He's like, hey, it sounds like his cooling system that goes to his processor was wearing out. He's like, I replaced it, and apparently has drivers. Guess what? They wouldn't work because of Windows 11 and something like this. So he had to go in and uninstall and do all this stuff just to get the drivers for a cooling system to work.
Yep.
That scares me, guys. So
Yeah,
Windows
it should.
10 is still, that's bright side of life right there.
For as long as you possibly can.
I know, right? Yep. So awesome. That's my bright side of life. Listener, that brings us to the end of the episode, unless, Landon, you got one more thing for us.
No, I don't.
All right. Well, listener, we appreciate you listening for this episode or many other episodes that you have listened in or dabbed in, out, whatever. We appreciate that. So thank you. If you want to get a hold of us or have us talk about something or bring something up, you can get a hold of us on our social media platforms as well as callingallplatforms.com. Go check out the YouTube channel. Sometimes videos pop up on there very sporadically, but hey, sometimes they're there, or rewatch them. They're really fun over at the Calling All Platforms there over there on YouTube. All right, listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.